Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act.
And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
It's the perfect answer. This is Tyler Yonke, LPR. Hope everyone's doing fine. Just as always, there's always complications. So I'm trying to see here, make sure, shut up there, this thing over here. Hope everybody's having a good time. I'm wondering about the chat coming in. That's the problem I'm concerned with. I can see it here, but I'm not getting it on my streaming side here. So, you know, whether I'm going to be able to show you the chat or not, I don't know, but I'm going to be able to at least see it. So there we go. I hope Bew Smile and Happy's in here. What's up? Hey, what's now is in here. Good stuff. Good stuff. So I changed a few things on on the back end here, and I hope we're going to not lose any. There's an encoding problem with my computer and OBS. I hope we don't have any issues there, but hopefully we will be making it just fine. Anyway, so I hope everybody is doing fine. Tyler, why don't you get to your points? Okay, what are we going to talk about today? Hang on. I'm getting a video playing here for some reason. Okay, it's playing on the back side, and I don't want that to happen. There we go. Okay, so that just took off. Oh, that is really crazy. Okay, nice. I can play some PoE2 and listen to Tyler ramble. Yes, that's what we have going on here. Let's see if all the cameras are working. We've got that. All right, so there's a lot going on, and I've had a busy week, and I'm trying to get more organized. So when I come into this, it's all good, and then everything happens at the last minute. I had to do this a little earlier today than normal, so tried to work a little bit this morning. Go get a haircut. Thank you. Parents are here in town. It's it's getting holidays. Got a son flying in next week. It's just there's a lot going on. And I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope everyone is having a good holidays or the lead up to it. It's always frustrating. I told the wife, I'm like, look, 4 kids. I've been saying this for years. It's ixnay on the gifts. Let's don't do any more gift buying. Let's take a trip at Christmas. Let's go do a ski trip, right? And that's or the I don't know, Mexico, Hawaii, something. Put the money we spend on these kids who don't need it and go and do a fun activity. And they're like, yeah, but I want gifts. And then it just doesn't work out. So we keep buying gifts. And the reality is, if we did one of these trips, we'd save up for it, we'd do it, and they'd still get gifts. And for some reason, they're not ready to do this, to break away. So here we go. Well, okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Kayla Rekieta. The state filed their opposition, and I broke it down a few weeks ago, and I'm wondering if the state had any breakdowns like that. Candace Owens featured the USS Liberty, a guy on there, and people are freaking out about it. So I have a few little clips about that. We got Luigi Mangione, not the trumpet player from the 70s, but this Italian guy that has been arrested. We'll maybe talk a little bit about that. Daniel Penny, surprise, surprise, his verdict came out. He's set free. It's open season on black people, I guess. That's what they want you to believe. So there you have it. Oh yes, travel when everyone else is traveling, a unique idea. You know what? You make a really good point there, Phobes. I would do it in a way that's not so bad. But I just don't want to. I want to go someplace. I want to go and hang out, have some fun, You know, maybe get a big cabin out in the mountains or something like that. I don't know. It seems like the way to go. I'm very disappointed in the chat feature right now. I'm very disappointed. Let me just see if I could do this. If it will, docs, custom docs. See if we can get this one in here. Okay, let's apply it and see what happens. I don't know. I don't think it's happening. Okay. So we'll just have to deal with it. Okay, let's get to Kayla Rekieta's thing here. I think that's the one I really want to look at first and foremost, because it's interesting. So if you don't know, she filed I remember I had mentioned, I said something glows about the UHC dude. Find his sob story hard to believe. That's what Jose says. I am with you, and there's some problems. Do I want to get into it? I don't know. It seems all too grandiose. And by the way, I think part of it, there could be some someone like Jose is maybe better qualified than moi to really say something about this. But I think it's trying to build up sentiment of hatred towards maybe the insurance companies or the CEOs. And maybe there's something there because people are like, oh, this guy, he does this. And I don't think his you're right. I don't know if this is what you meant, but I don't think his sob story leads me to believe that's why you should go kill a CEO. I mean, Kay on the live. Sorry, damn it. I'm on YouTube. It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't find his motives, and I know there's people out there, Taylor Lorenz and other ones, they're all giddy about this. And I think say, fuck you. That's not the way to deal with things. I'm not a fan of that. Maybe you guys are. I don't know. I think if you want to go after the health insurance companies, specifically, I think first you go after Obama and Obamacare and you clean that out, and then you figure out what croniness is happening there, because it's tail, dog, who's wagging whom. And I believe the government has more culpability than anybody in this. And that's kind of where I'm at. I thought everyone agreed he was an Italian button man for Pelosi. Maybe so. Maybe so. Okay, let's get to this here, this Kayla Rekieta. Remember, when I broke this down, my first thing was on her motion, it said her motion. And that's all. That didn't say for what. The state, however, says state's memorandum of law in opposition to defendant's motion to dismiss. There we go. It's a motion to dismiss, which she for somehow didn't put on her thing. So there you go. I wonder if I could do. I'm sorry. I'm getting all. Let me check this out here. Okay, there we go. We got. Look, I'm starting in here a little earlier. Some people are going to be coming and going. Maybe we're not going to get all the views, but this is what I want to do. Phobe says, I'm on the fence. If the dude is complicit in fraudulently denying claims, it's essentially impossible for average people to sue. Yeah. I don't know his situation. Okay, I don't know. And yes, the claims thing, we need to start worrying about this. But it's also, I'm not in favor of the Bernie, and this is where we go wrong. When you've tied everyone's income and their job to their insurance, and you're forcing, it's metastasized in a way that's just not readily. It's put too much onus on these insurance companies, and it's a semi-public-private institution, and I don't like it, right? The good old days, you went in, I tore my Achilles heel several years ago, and I was in between insurance. I had a friend who was a doctor, who that's what he did. What is it? I don't know, whatever kind of doctor that is. And he repaired it for me, and he had his own surgery center, and we made a deal, and I just paid him, and he gave me a great deal, by the way. But that's what it was. And that's the good old days, how things used to go. And I'm sure if I had had insurance, he would have made maybe a lot more, probably. But then he would have bilked it off of them. But so he just took care of his expense and some. So it's the good old days of how it used to be with not overriding costs. It's like with anything, when you start getting something where you don't really have as much skin in the game as far as your costs, then as far as your expenses, then the costs go up. And then they can charge more, and then it's a never-ending thing. And then you're like, okay, now insurance costs are going up. Okay, they're rising out of control, and now I'm not getting what I bargained for, and that is a problem, right? And I don't know. I thought Tom Woods wrote something. Maybe I should bring that up, and maybe we'll get there. But let's talk about Kayla Rekieta first here. I had a bank rearrange several transactions from the largest to smallest so they could hit me with as many overdraft. Yes, and I would say contact them and see if they will reverse those. I've had that. And if you don't notice it, or if you don't say something about it, they oftentimes they will reverse those kind of things. I'm just telling you from my experience. Okay, sole issue. So I'm going to read through this. It's only, what, 6 pages or so. This is the state's thing back to Kayla Rekieta. Her motion to dismiss, which her attorneys did not include in there. They just said our motion. They didn't say what it was for. I think that's a problem, but here we are. Sole issue before the court is whether there is sufficient probable cause to support the search warrant in this case. Based on the arguments here, the court should deny the defendant's motion in their entirety. Discussion. U.S. and Minnesota Constitution provide that no warrant shall issue without a showing of probable cause. State v. Holiday, Minnesota, 2008 case. In determining, I'm not going to quote all the cases. I'm just going to say what the name is, and we'll keep going there. You guys can look those up. In determining whether a warrant is supported by probable cause, the issuing judge's decision is not reviewed de novo. And I'll express it again and say what that is. In other words, you don't review it on issue by issue. It's in its entirety, okay? On review. State v. Harvey, instead, great deference is afforded to the judge's issuing judge's finding of probable cause. The review is confined to ensuring the issuing judge has a substantial basis for concluding that probable cause existed. To determine whether the issuing judge had a substantial basis, we look to the totality of the circumstances test for probable cause. Remember, it's not admissible evidence. It's probable cause to get you to something that is discoverable or admissible. Okay. It's that determining to get there. It's just probable cause, very, very, very low standard of what it takes. Holiday, in determining whether that's the case there. In determining whether there was probable cause to search, the issuing judge's task is simply to make a practical, common sense decision whether, given all the circumstances set forth in the affidavit, there is a fair probability that contraband or evidence of a crime will be found in a particular place. Okay, just a fair probability that something might be there that's evidence of a crime. I mean, it's connecting, it's, whatever. It's chains of probability getting yourself to the conclusion. That's really what it is, right? Causal. In reviewing the sufficiency of a search warrant affidavit under the totality of the circumstances test, courts must be careful not to review each component of the affidavit in isolation. And that is exactly what Kayla and Nick have done on their dropping in, saying, hey, this isn't good because the letter exonerated us from the CPS worker. Well, it was done prior to the Pomplins investigation. Kayla's made similar things, saying Nick is this is what she's done.
Adios, arrivederci, au revoir. Take 1, 5 cameras.
Why would you do this? Why now? Why is my camera so low? Trying to shut the show down. We'll play the credits. No. What we'll do is we'll sit here. Guys.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Here's credits.
That's stupid. Let's get that. She said he was acting.
Adios, arrivederci.
I don't want that in there. Okay, so she said he was acting. He was acting. That was the thing. And there you go. I have video evidence that he was in fact acting. Should we play the other one where the mountains of coke?
Things are going to start.
Sorry, I'm clicking too many buttons. Remember, she also mentioned Al Pacino in Scarface. Okay, let's get in the Mountains of Coke. Let's get back to this proper thing. Don't come up there. Okay, there we go. The affidavit, holiday. Okay. Each component in isolation, a collection of pieces of information that would not be substantial alone can combine to create sufficient probable cause. That's a great statement there, and I know it comes from State v. Ruoho, right? That a collection of pieces of information that would not be substantial alone can combine to create sufficient probable cause. That is, you just have, look, little specks, right? It's the death by pinprick, right? One little prick alone isn't going to do it, but a multiple, you're going to bleed out. That's the kind of idea you have here. A causal chain, a multiple of them connecting to give you probable cause. A warrant should not be invalidated by construing an affidavit in a hyper-technical rather than common sense fashion. State v. Ruoho. Doubtful or marginal cases are resolved in favor of upholding the warrant. The affidavit must supply specific facts to establish a direct connection or nexus between the crime alleged and the place to be searched, particularly in cases involving the search of a residence of evidence of drug activity. State v. McGrath. However, direct observation of evidence of a crime at a place to be searched is not required. State v. Yarborough. A nexus may be inferred from the totality of the circumstances, including, look, and you're like, okay, this is boring. Yeah, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. There's a ton of cases outlining why the state, once again, this is not Tyler's feeling about these laws. It's not Tyler's feeling about how laws should be. In my libertarian sense, which is, I believe libertarianism is a legal foundation, not a political philosophy. Okay, that's really where I've narrowed my thoughts now. It's more of a legal philosophy. This is not necessarily tailored around what I would necessarily want with that. Okay, there you go, Barnes. But this is the reality of the situation. So we're walking through this. And even so, what you're laying out here is case after case after case. The state is referencing how this should be done and why Kayla's motion is basically invalid or should be dismissed, because what she's picking away at, the courts have already determined that that's not the valid way to go about this. Okay, when we're saying probable cause, we're mixing all this. We have little pieces of dust and you sweep the whole floor, and then you get something you can sweep, I don't know, a pile. There you go. A pile of stuff that you can actually use. And that is where we're looking here. And that's what they're saying. A nexus may be inferred between the totality of the circumstances, including type of crime, nature of items sought, extent to the defendant's opportunity for concealment, and normal inferences as to where the defendant would usually keep the items. The finding of probable cause may rest upon evidence which is not legally competent in a criminal trial. Excellent. And I'm going to talk about another case here that I've been really digging deep into, that from 1972, that actually breaks some of this down as well. Okay. Police officers may rely on training and experience to draw, and by the way, what they mean by the competence for a legal criminal trial, which is this guy may not be a complete expert at trial, but his the pomplin, but he can recognize drugs. We can all do that. Hearsay, as an example, first, second, third degree hearsay, which is hearsay is just an out of court statement made for the truth of the matter asserted. Okay. So you basically can't just have someone, it's out of court statements by someone that's not, there's exceptions to all this. So Susie said, you can't say what she said, bring her in here and have Susie recount it. Then there's second, which is Susie said, Jim said, right? You got multiple connections of hearsay, degrees of hearsay. That's fine, right? This police officer can say he talked to this person, the pastor, who said he heard from there's multiple things here, and Nick's pushed back against that, Barnes et al. But those are not necessarily admissible pieces of evidence for trial, but they would be for the probable cause. Police officers may rely on training and experience to draw inferences in affidavits. Generally, in determining whether probable cause exists, both the district court and the reviewing court may consider only the information in the applicant for the search warrant. And these are just like statement after statement after statement of, it's not saying much, it's just looping these statements together from all these court cases that have gone over and over and over this, making precedent in the state of Minnesota and the United States in the Supreme Court. Affidavit for search warrant begins with the child maltreatment report that was taken by Deputy David Nestor relating to controlled substance use by defendant's husband. Once Detective Pomplin received the child maltreatment report, he began an investigation into whether or not there was criminal activity related to the controlled substance. The name of the reporter or the relationship was not included in the affidavit. However, the name of the reporter of child maltreatment may not be disclosed. There you go. The report was basis for the state of law enforcement investigation. It was not the entire investigation nor the sole basis of the application of the search warrant. Even if the court went to strike information in the child maltreatment report from the warrant application, there is still probable cause for the search warrant based on Detective Pomplin's subsequent investigation. Detective Pomplin went on to review the social media of the defendant's husband, Nicholas Rekieta. These videos are available to the public. Detective Pomplin noted a dramatic change in Nicholas. By the way, I'll just say this. I think this is the same DA that's filing these on both cases. This is not a cut and paste from the Nicks. I mean, there's different issues that each are bringing up with the Franks and this one. So this attorney is DA or prosecutor or whatever. She's doing her work. These videos were recorded in the home of defendant. Detective Pomplin also reviewed social media of Aaron Imhotep. In his videos, Imhotep talks about experimenting with cocaine and other controlled substances. There's no direct statements by Imhotep that the defendant was using controlled substances. Detective Pomplin pointed out that Imhotep insinuated use by the defendant, but did not directly state that. In the application for the search warrant, Detective Pomplin notes that there was a pre-existing relationship by referring to videos where they had appeared together or Imhotep appeared from the defendant's home. Detective Pomplin included that there may have recently had a falling out between Imhotep and the defendant. I don't know why I emphasize the words like that. He also indicated that Aaron Imhotep and April had separated. Detective Pomplin informed the issuing magistrate that the Imhoteps and the defendant were no longer in good terms. Okay, we're cruising along, people. We're almost there. Imhotep also talked about a video where the defendant appeared to be under the influence of a controlled substance. Detective Pomplin did not rely on that statement alone. Detective Pomplin watched Nicholas Rekieta's video for himself. And we all have. We've played that video. That dude is strung out. Detective Pomplin has been trained as a drug recognition expert. Remember, they said that he had lied about that. He received specialized training to identify the signs and symptoms when someone is under the influence of a controlled substance. Based on his review of the video, Detective Pomplin stated that, is he deputy or detective? Now he's back to detective. Before they were saying deputy. I mean, they got to get their shit figured out in this Pomplin dude. Stated the defendant was showing, maybe that's one thing we'll get if we go to trial. We'll figure out if he's a detective or a deputy. That's what I want to know. While he could not perform field sobriety testing, he is able to recognize the physical signs of being under the influence of control. Remember, they said that too. He didn't do it. Well, yeah, because he didn't have a fucking warrant. That's what he was applying for, was a warrant to do field testing or to go into the house. They are observed visually. They can be observed in person through videos. Yeah, Nick is a druggie. In determining, I mean, if I'm wrong, sue me. In determining whether there is probable cause to search, the issuing judge's task is simply to make a practical and common sense decision. Whether, given all the circumstances set forth in the affidavit, there is a fair probability that contraband or evidence of a crime will be found in a particular place. Harvey. The application and affidavit do not have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the subject of the search warrant is guilty. Probable cause requires, quote, only a probability or substantial chance of criminal activity, not an actual showing of such activity. The significant fact being not whether particular conduct is innocent or guilty, but the degree of suspicion that attaches to particular types of non-criminal acts. State v. Holiday. Thus, innocent or non-criminal activity can contribute to the totality of the circumstances on which a finding of probable cause is based. Police officers may rely on training and experience to draw inferences in affidavits. In this case, Detective Pomplin relied on specialized training as a former drug recognition expert. I mean, Do you need that to see what Nick's doing? In his prior 15 years of law enforcement officer, based on the training and experience, he was able to articulate the signs of controlled substance use that he observed in Nicholas Rekieta's videos, even if there was an innocent explanation for some of those indicators. That does not negate Detective Pomplin's training and experience and the deductions he is able to make based on those indicators. His subsequent investigation and his personal observations of Nicholas Rekieta in his videos corroborated the information provided to Deputy Nestor about ongoing controlled substances use in the defendant's home. The totality of these facts in the search warrant application established a direct connection between controlled substances and defendant's home. Even if this were a marginal or doubtful case, the Supreme Court has mandated that resolution of such cases should be, quote, largely determined by the preference of the accorded to warrants. U.S. v. Ventresca. Additionally, courts are to afford great deference to the issuing magistrate's determination of probable cause. With this in mind, the search warrant application taken as a whole demonstrates that the issuing magistrate had a substantial basis for concluding that probable cause existed to support such warrant. Conclusion: when viewing all the facts in the search warrant application together with the practical common sense approach, there is a substantial basis to conclude that contraband or evidence of controlled substances would be found in the defendant's home. They were. Therefore, the defendant's motion challenging probable cause to issue the search warrant and seeking suppression should be denied in its entirety. Kristen Pierce, First Assistant Candy Ojai County Attorney. Okay. Well, I want to. So I've been. I don't know. Those that like, and maybe we should look at. Let's do this. Let's do ourselves a little favor here. Why is? Oh boy, that's not good. Hang on, folks. I'm going to try to get a chat page up here. I've got all kinds of issues going. I've been looking into, I don't know if any of you that you know, like crime, when I say that, I mean like stories of crime stories. If you are, shit, hang on. I wanted the chat and then I went to pop it out and I killed it. Are familiar with a very famous case. It's called about this guy, D.B. Cooper. Okay. D.B. Cooper was, 1971. Let's see if I could do this. Let me see. I'm sorry. Just hang on with me. Let's see if I could do this. Chat. Is that the one I want? No, that's not the one I want. That's not the one I want. There we go. Okay. Maybe this is what we'll have to do. Okay, so D.B. Cooper hijacked a plane it was going from Portland to Seattle, 1971. Was it November? It was the day before Thanksgiving. Jumped out of he gets $200,000 in 1971, remember? Pretty big, pretty cool. Jumps out of the plane, never to be found again. Now, there's evidence that perhaps it's this guy named Richard Floyd McCroy, okay? This guy was a fucking badass, okay? Now, supposedly, his wife was involved in it, his mother-in-law or his mom, and their family members, so they shut the fuck up about it until everyone's passed away. Now the kids are like, it was our dad. Now, this guy was in Nam. He was a pilot. He was a helicopter pilot. He jumped out of planes in Nam. He won almost every medal you can imagine over there. As a helicopter pilot, and he was crazy. Comes home, gets spit on by, trying to go to he can't get a job, and he's trying to, do so, and he's a Vietnam vet, and at the time it wasn't whatever. So he ends up, allegedly, this D.B. Cooper going into, hijack this plane. 6 months later, now they found a little bit of money from it in 1980, so 9 years or so later. So there's speculation that he never got the money because when they brought it to him, he didn't have a way to harness it and he jumped out the back with a parachute. Now, 6 months later, there's another hijacking. Okay, this one is from is it Utah going to somewhere else, and he diverted them to San Francisco, gets $500,000, then has him reroute, and he bails out over Utah. And but for his whore sister-in-law who was sleeping with this another guy that was a police officer and talking to him at the time, he never would have been caught. But the idea is it's him. Okay, now they go to trial with this. Okay. Fly away, Cooper. Yeah. So he goes to trial in 1972 out there in Utah, and they, so there was a warrant. They went, and so there's a lot going on with this, and I'm going to do a whole story about it because now there's this guy that did this amazing video, the breakdown of it, and his son just did an interview as well, and they're saying, hey, there was never a warrant issued for this, so it was an illegal search. And then this guy gets put in prison, by the way, federal prison, because he gets convicted, and then he gets put in federal prison. He fucking breaks out of prison, and then he's on the loose for 3 months before the FBI just they caught him and shot him without much. And it's a little bit sketchy there too. So the guy's a badass by all means. However, his kids and this other guy, they're saying, hey, there was never an actual warrant. So it was actually on appeal. And there was never an actual warrant, and therefore they never even should have been able to go into his house and seize anything. Well, that's not really the case. As a matter of fact, I actually have the, let's go to here, browser. It's actually, here's the appeal. But I thought this was interesting, and it ties into the Kayla Rekieta. Remember, Kayla's argument about Aaron was that he was an informant, and therefore there are standards of informants that need to be met rather than just comparing it with a witness. Okay. Now this actually, there was a warrant for this guy, for Floyd McCloy, Richard Floyd McCloy, Recroy, but the wrong person, it's like Pomplin, instead of Pomplin's name, it was Deputy Nestor when it was actually, so someone messed up there. So then the court reviews this and says, well, they had a valid warrant, a magistrate, all the probable cause was there. More than enough, sufficient to get a warrant for this guy, but the wrong person's name was listed on it, and therefore it should be rejected. This court goes through it and they say, no, it's innocent mistake type of thing. But I thought this passage was interesting that does read. Now, granted, this is 1971, but Kristen Pierce never brings this in. I did mention this last time, so I just thought this was an interesting one. In evaluating the affidavit of Gearman, that's the guy that should have been, it should be noted that we are not here concerned with professional informers, identified or unidentified. Okay, that's exactly what we have. Professional informers, that's what Kayla Rekieta had mentioned in her affidavit or her motion to whatever, that Aaron should have been held under those standards, okay? Rather, we are concerned with information acquired by FBI agents from named persons who were whether eyewitnesses to the crime or had information acquired from McCroy himself. This we deem to be considerable significance in connection to the magistrate's determination as to the reliability of the affiant's sources of information. In this connection is held United States v. Bell, 1972. That a supporting affidavit in an application for a search warrant must attest to the credibility of an informer and his information, but that such requirement did not extend to information acquired from an eyewitness to a crime. Thank you very much. Now, this is back in obviously when was this appeal? Actually, 73 was the appeal on that one. But I mentioned that last time, and I don't believe that case law is any different at this point. That a paid informant or a professional informant is going to be treated differently than just your simple eyewitness, right? You don't have, someone can be at a crime, can see something happened, let's say you're in the McDonald's. Let's say you find Luigi in the McDonald's, right? He's doing something, he's actually stealing something there, and then the police come, and you're an eyewitness to this, right? Now they're going to, are they going to worry about your credibility? You could be a fucking criminal yourself, right? You could just be whatever. And they're like, oh, this guy's a drug addict. He can't be, we didn't get, no, you're a witness to the crime. You can then, say something to the police and they can project something on to come to you. So that's really what we have there. What I did want to do, let's, I think it's this one. There we go. Let's see how you guys, sounds like my grandfather, LOL. Okay. Tyler's attempting to summon an ancient mummy. Okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Let's see what else we had here. I saw that live. We're so innocent then. It's a shame we had, you're talking about the Nick stuff. I watched Nick go downhill. Super chats for drinking turned a lot of creators into alcohol whores. Yeah, so I do have a drink. Your health is number one over this kind of stuff, right? I mean, I enjoy doing this, but this is something I do on the side because you guys aren't paying me shit. Come on, let's get that shit. Just kidding. The Imhotep. I got you now. Flyaway Cooper sounds like my grandfather. Yeah. It's a fascinating case. So I'm actually reading a book right now. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. It's called The Real McCoy. DB Cooper, The Real McCoy. And it's a book about Richard Floyd Croy. I don't know why I can't say that one. His caper that happened, 6 months later and getting caught. And it's from the main FBI guy there's a big book written by two people. One is the probation officer that dealt with McCroy. So he got to ask, because the case happens, the trial happens, he gets convicted. Then for sentencing, you go talk to a probation. They do a whole investigation and they get a probe into you and then to give a recommendation to the judge for sentencing. So no one could really ask McCroy anything at this point. He's still represented by counsel. The trial's not over. But this guy got to go ask him stuff because he had to determine for the court. So he can ask him all kinds of stuff. Now, he's in cahoots with going into doing this with the main FBI guy there in Utah who's just ready to retire. Calme is his name. Callum, I think the last name. And this guy's name is Rhodes. And so these two FBI guys are kind of, the one that did the main investigation, he's like, this guy's connected with DB Cooper. Okay. And so when Rhodes goes in there to investigate and to ask him questions, he gets to ask him a bunch more. Now, what's interesting is this book was like late 80s. I think somewhere around there. When the book does come out, McCroy's wife, she sues and tries to put a stay so this book can't come out, like for defamation. The interesting part is that the family, McCroy, his wife, they were trying to make a book deal and they had an attorney. So this attorney gets all kinds of notes, takes down a bunch of information that interviews with them at the time about the situation and kind of everything. Well, at some point it didn't work out. The book didn't get out. So he has these notes. He sells them to this Rhodes guy that's writing this book now. So she sues. Now, I don't know if your privilege with an attorney does not go away upon your death or the attorney's death or your death. So it should still be privileged information. And he gave it away or he sold it. So she did sue. And so the book, if you go to buy it right now, it's like $1,200. But I found it on Open Library, so I'm able to read it just fine. But it's a fascinating little expose there. Was there something else I was going to say about that? I don't remember. Okay, let's go to, what else did I have? So anyway, I'm going to do a breakdown on that because I think it's a fascinating case. And how these two guys are probably very much connected. So we got it. Okay, what I wanted to play now is Candace Owens had this guy on talking about, let's pull this off here, talking about the USS Liberty, and this is a clip from the show. Let's go.
Hey, what I'd like to call out Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro with this conspiracy theory stuff. If you think it's a conspiracy, debate me. I'd be glad to debate you, and my shipmates will be there too if you want them. Debate this if you think it's a conspiracy theory. Or do you have the courage? I don't think you got the courage. I think you're cowards.
Can I explain the USS Liberty?
I don't know what's going on with this thing. Let me hold it for a second, see if it'll catch up, and then we'll go.
Sure. The USS Liberty incident is very frequently used by anti-Semites to suggest that Israel is a liberally.
Okay, it's bucking for me, so I'm not going to do it. So Ben Shapiro comes in there, and it's really interesting because this is, we have tendencies to defend our country. Okay, so there's misinformation or whatever around there, some incident around the world. you're usually going to, especially Republican, err in the side of, hey, our service is doing it right. These are servicemen, whether it was a country that screwed up or whatnot. Let's not fuck around and talk bad about the servicemen, all hail to your, thank you for your service type of thing. Ben goes in there and I'm sorry, I don't know why the thing's all screwy up, but he's defending Israel. Well, actually, he says this is a misunderstanding. There's two conspiracies. One is that the U.S. boats out there. So if you don't know, there's a U.S. boat in the I think it's 67, the 6-year war or something like that. And I think Egypt was involved, Israel was involved, and this spy boat goes out there in the Mediterranean up the Sinai Peninsula and gets attacked by Israel. First with planes, they drop napalm, then they have skiffs come out there and they're shooting up. This thing gets loaded up. A bunch of people die. Okay. The claim is by this gentleman who was on the boat that there was first going to be one rescue mission happening. They're only a few minutes away. They get called back by I think the Secretary of State or something. And then another big ship is on the way to rescue, and LBJ himself says, "Don't go in there. I'm not, screw the boy, the U.S. whatever. I'm not going to mess up, embarrass Israel type of thing." And so that's the claim. So Ben Shapiro's response to that is, when people bring this up, someone did there, and I guess in a Ask Me Anything type of thing is, "Hey, what about the USS Liberty?" And he's like, "Look, it was a misunderstanding. They didn't know it was a U.S. ship, okay? And that's just the whole thing about it." Now, this guy's claiming that it was clearly marked. They had already had flyovers. They had a flag on there, and it wasn't the case. So Ben's like, look, the conspiracies are, well, first of all, the claim is always that, to even bring this up, you're anti-Semitic. Okay, stop it. Then he says, look, the two theories. One on one side is Israel just attacked them for no reason at all. Well, that's not what this guy says. This guy says, look, and you see this all the time. Could be for anything, which is Israel wanted the U.S. to get into the war with them and back them. You want your big boy here, so you let him get attacked, and therefore then you blame it on the Egyptians in this case, and then you've got the U.S. is in there defending Israel. That would be their reason. Ben just says there's no reason for it. Then there's a theory on the other side, which is, the U.S. was actually, this was a spy reconnaissance ship, okay, which makes sense. That's what this guy said as well. And that, it's giving me an encoding problem. And that with that, the U.S. was stealing information and then giving it over to the Egyptians. So that's why they did it. And he's like, there's no proof for that. Now, this guy also mentioned Charlie Kirk. So let's go see here what Charlie Kirk had to actually say about this same situation. And then I think we'll take some questions. I think I have some comments that we can probably get to. Okay, let's go to the YouTube section. There we go. All right, let's play away. Charlie Kirk getting asked some questions.
Sure. So I have a question. So from America First perspective, why do we give $3.8 billion to Israel, which is more aid than we've given to Africa, more aid than we've given to South America, and more aid than we've given to the Caribbean combined, which is home to 1 billion poor people, especially when they deliberately attacked the USS Liberty in the 1970s.
That is incorrect. Do not peddle conspiracy theories in our event. That is not acceptable. Do not say that.
Okay, Dean Rusk disagrees with you, and he was the Secretary of State at the time, but that's fine. And then the second part is also, you have the Apollo incident in which they illegally stole weapons-grade uranium. The CIA has reports on this.
Anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic
No, I'm not
rhetoric.
anti-Israel.
Okay, that's I have not watched this before. This is the frustrating part, is criticism of a country is I've said this over and over. It's the dumbest thing. And Charlie Kirk would be the first person to defend you for ripping on BLM as not being racist, right? He would definitely be all over that. This is the same thing, if not even worse, right?
I'm just asking from America First perspective because it's not in our interest. They act against our interest.
Remember the short question part?
Sure. I mean, how is it in our interest that we give this money to Israel?
All right, so it's required that they have to buy American weaponry. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, the only place where all three monotheistic religions are allowed to peacefully practice. It's the only country in the Middle East where all three monotheistic religions are represented in their government. It's the only place in the Middle East that has any appreciation for LGBT rights whatsoever. It's the only country in the Middle
Okay. Really? That's where we're going? LGBT rights is where Charlie Kirk wants us?
Least that doesn't throw homosexuals off the top of buildings when they find them. It is the only partner that we have in the fight against radical Islamic terrorism. And the subtext of your narrative could be extrapolated to say, well, why on earth would we have a partner like Israel? Guess what? The world's a better place because of Israel.
Okay, that's, wow, look at that. Daryl Brooks, that's the next thing coming up on my list. Okay, so I thought that was very interesting. A little too, hang on. A little bit too, there we go. A little bit too much. I did also, what was interesting is when I was trying to find that, because I saw it referenced, this was a thing, and you go through here, and I had the hardest time. Now look, these are a lot of these gripers here, but it was not found, video not found. It had been scrubbed like everywhere. That one, let's go to this one here, same story. And I couldn't, the video was gone from everywhere. And then I have to, I don't know what these websites are. Actually, they might be very anti-Semitic, who knows? But they're no longer there. Okay, so last thing I kind of wanted to go back over here was, I had talked a few weeks ago about, and I didn't get to this part, which was the Dave Smith, part of the problem, Robbie Bernstein, and I didn't clip this part. But last time I went over where I had asked a question in Dave's listener group, and Robbie the Fire went completely berserk with it. And the question was basically justifying the fact that Cuomo is working for Patrick Bet-David. Robbie, for some reason, went berserk on this. Honestly, I don't know why, other than because it's very extreme. And then the very next episode, I'm listening to it, and I was a members only, and I'm listening to it, and they say something about Fauci, and Robbie goes crazy about Fauci in the other way. So would Dave hire Fauci? Would Dave hire Cuomo? And so it blew me away. But what it did remind me of was this tweet here that, this is Clint Russell, but very similar, which is this guy's like, remember this guy, this Sheriff Chad Chronister has withdrawn his name from DEA administrator. This comes as a massive pushback over him arresting a pastor for holding services during COVID. Okay, so this guy was quite the piece of shit. Arrested, holding church services during coronavirus, just doing his job type of thing. And, Clint comes along and says, this guy was a terrible pick. I'm very glad he had enough respect for the people of this country to withdraw. COVID authoritarians have no place in law enforcement. Okay, yeah, they have no place in law. And by the way, Clint didn't come out against me here. But what was also similar was Dave Smith, though, on a very similar thing. This is Thomas Massey, says, I'm going to call him like I see him. Trump's nominee for head of DEA should be disqualified for ordering the arrest of a pastor who defied COVID. And Dave's like 100%. If that isn't disqualifying, nothing is. Terrible pick. So you have these, and this is the thing that blows me away, which is now you want Cuomo. You would not, and I mentioned it at Robbie at the time because he's like, look, he goes on Piers Morgan. I mean, not him, but Piers Morgan has people on it. You're not hiring him, right? Would you be okay with Cuomo going on Fox? Would you be okay with this guy getting on a job there or in your own network? So it's a little bit hypocritical, and all I'm doing is defending myself on that situation once again, which I think I am wholly justified to do. Okay, did I have more to go over today? Because I think I did. I think I wanted to Charlie Kirk, Robbie the Fire, going crazy, part of the problem, McCroy, Nick Fuentes. That is one more I did want to talk about. Okay, so I want to, let's see if I can find it here. While we're looking, I'm going to go back a ways and see if I can find, because what I wanted to talk about was the Clint Russell had made a comment. Let's see if I can find it. Where got to go back a ways. I made a comment about Nick Fuentes. Okay, here we go. We'll walk our way through this. Now, I love, you guys may or may not like him, but Clint's a buddy of mine, and I do like him. But I think this is my legal advice for all the groypers. Please take Clint's advice, right? I want you to do this. Clint says, well, first of all, we talked about this last week. Breaking, mugshot has been released of Nick Fuentes, who had been arrested and charged with battery. Since then, he's been released. Okay, yeah, not a problem. And we walked through the video, okay? So Clint says, Fuentes says, quote, your body, my choice. goes viral, gets doxxed. Crazy lady shows up at his house uninvited. He pepper sprays her, gets charged with battery. Sorry, but if you show up at my house uninvited, you'll be lucky if it's just pepper spray. Drop the charges. Now, a lot of people in the chat of this one and the comments, they went crazy agreeing with Nick. And then, you know, this guy says agreed. And then despite this, Louisville, just as much as anyone with a large following understands the need to defend themselves and their property from online wacko. He needs to get out of Chicago. But regardless, she should be the one facing charges. So my question was this. Walk through this scenario with the facts we know from the video. Quote one, there's no quote. One, what charges would they bring on her? Okay. And what's Nick's defense as a charge of battery? Because that's the problem. And then people go crazy on this stuff here. It was, so I've talked about this and I think it's very important, which is if you're just coming up, you have I'm doing this from a legal perspective of trying to help people, not just be vigilantes, right? Or not just do something that's going to get you in trouble. When I first saw this video, the lady walks up there before she even rings the doorbell. Nick pops out, sprays her. Do I have the video? I thought I might even still actually, no, that's the wrong Nick. That's the other Nick. So it's really plain and simple. And it doesn't mean I think Nick is a bad guy for doing this. I get it. I totally get it. Right? He may even feel justified, but is he criminally liable for this? Yeah, because you can't just do that. Now, people are like, I'm like, it could have been a Mormon coming up to your door, and they're like, it wasn't a Mormon. Okay, she's a Jew, whatever. My point is, though, he didn't know specifically. Now, if it's someone, and he didn't have to open the door, these are all the problems. And so what charges are you going to bring to her? Maybe stalking, but then he didn't know that at the time. This goes to the warrant thing that we talked about with Kayla Rekieta as well, which is it's easy for us after the fact to say they found drugs, but that's not the standard at the time, okay? And that's not his standard at the time. Is he has the facts that he knows before him, and is he justified? Now, if she'd been saying, I'm going to go there, and before you even get a chance, I'm going to put a slug through you, and I'm going to do that. Okay, maybe then he's defending himself, kind of preemptively, but he doesn't have that information before him. So you don't know that. So he's not justified in exerting force before she does anything, before she even rings the doorbell. Okay, so one, even a no trespassing sign. Now, is there an expectation of privacy, even though you're within your curtilage, which your front door is? And I don't believe so. So I don't believe, no solicitors, okay, those signs to keep off, even a no trespassing sign doesn't give you a right to just kill someone on your property or even to mace them, right? This sidewalk up there, put a gate in front of the sidewalk. So then if they come through the gate, now it's a different story. But I don't believe that's what the case is here. So you're wrong, Clint, but please, I hope his point here is really about getting the groypers to do some really stupid shit. Maybe that's where we're going with this. And with that, I could probably get on board. I could get on board with that. I don't know. Let's see do we have anything going on with the chat? You guys, Tyler's going to talk about the juice. Okay. That was a great episode. It was. We need Israel on our side is the part of on our side in that part of the world. Enough said. That was during the Groper War. Groper Wars. It's the only reason Charlie Kirk hasn't been demonetized. Yeah, probably grounds. Yeah, because you saw Daryl Brooks. I agree. Good old Daryl Brooks. Good stuff there. Oh shit, that was you? Yes, that was me. That was me, Phobes. Thanks for. By the way, I haven't seen you in here for a while, so thanks for coming back. That was me, and I will say, so I would say go back and look at my video from last week, and I will actually post out just a segment video of only that section and maybe cut the part I had tonight, which is using the word you justified to Dave Smith was not intended. I had originally written that, and then I couldn't erase it, and I rewrote it the same way. But they didn't get that one. They gave him that one. I didn't ask for Dave Smith to justify. That's not my intent. I didn't intend for Dave Smith to have to personally justify what Patrick Bet-David is doing. But in the proverbial sense, how do you justify? How do we justify? How does anybody justify this? How are we just okay? This is such a seminal thing. And Dave goes on there and says, yeah, but it's great that I debated him and I got to show everybody and punish him. I'm like, okay, you want to punish? If that's what you want to do, then maybe you don't get excited about this guy platforming him, paying him a ton of money. I mean, to me, I see it as Patrick McDavid being a shyster, right? I see him as being this guy that's hoodwinked everybody into I'm such a great businessman. I've got Adam. Oh, that's the one I got to do, because Adam did a tweet here, and so maybe I'll pull that up. I got this guy Adam on my show. I hired Cuomo, and look at me. What a businessman I am. My only question is Fuente Spanish or gay or fed? For gay for fed. He's all legally, but maybe in Capistan it's absolutely justified. And at Capistan it's justified. I don't think so. You still have how is that justified in Capistan? Which you're basically going off the non-aggression principle, right? You can't aggress unless someone aggresses on you. What was the aggression that she was doing coming to the door? Because you can't guarantee that this lady was there for nefarious reasons. I don't think you can do that. Now, was she? Yeah, we know that now. But did Nick know that? So you have to ask now, does he have a rational, would a reasonable person have acted in the same way? And that's where you're really looking at here, is a reasonable person standard. And I don't think that he would have. Jesse Waters and Alex Stein both did do ambush combat content. Yeah, they did. Justified. Should men be allowed to use pepper spray? I am with you. Yeah. So here's the great thing is all the groypers, they're out there and they're like, hey, you know, Nick's our man. And I was like, man? And then he uses pepper spray? I watch often, but usually on the phone while I'm working. Okay, good to have you. Alan says, I do deliveries as a side gig. 1 in 100 people act aggressively toward us because they have no trespassing signs. Yet they ordered deliveries. Maybe I should be the one with pepper spray ready. You should. You should. Yeah, my wife does stuff like that every once in a while too. Not pepper spray, but the delivery stuff because she just loves it. Andrew does what he is told. He is not bright. Who's Andrew? Trespass. In reality, land trespass is entering property without explicit consent. The state twists things and says it's when you're asked to leave but refuse. I don't know. It depends on the situation. As I said, if you have a gate up there and it says no trespassing, and the gate is prior to the entry, you know, the walkway, the walkway or whatever to your front door, I think you might have a better chance of this one, right? Now, don't come past that. Do not go past this plane. This is my curtilage. I've got a fence around it. And now you're coming inside, trespasser beware. But you've got a problem with the ability of people, especially under the way our country is, of allowing us to go up to front doors. I mean, Tim Walz, they're knocking on doors trying to get elected. How are you going to do that if there's a dangerous sign there? Andrew Cuomo. Okay, thank you. So anyway, it's a bit touchy. I will say this. First of all, that's not the kind of law I do, so I don't know all the specifics, but I know that there's duty to retreat, castle doctrine, all these things happen. Is this a castle doctrine? Is this someone inside your house? Now, I understand there's this thing called curtilage, which is the property outside. And, even if an expectation of privacy on your front yard might be different than your backyard, if there's trash cans out on the curb, can you actually, have the police dig through that? If you're following a libertarian philosophy, no signage is necessary. Entering property without permission is trespass. If you ask for delivery, that's an invasion. I'm not following that. I just don't think that's the way we get around with this stuff. Let's see if I can find, just hang on with me, folks. I think we got this one. Then maybe we'll be done. Okay, Candace Owens, we talked about that. Oh, you know what? This is also fascinating. I don't know if you saw the guy that did. Oh, here's a Nick video. I don't want to go down that one. Maybe we'll skip around with this one. Let's see if this could get us some interesting. I mean, we'll try this camera's angle. Okay, maybe we'll do this one. So this was a video. This lady, I think this is in Syria.
I'm a civilian, he says. I'm a civilian.
It's okay. It's okay. مين حطك هون؟ It's okay. It's okay. جابوني من حمص. جيش.
He tells the fighter he's from the city of Humps and has been in the cell for 3 months.
Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
He clutches my arm tightly with both hands.
Okay. Does anyone have any water? Water.
He looks fine. The jacket's
My. Okay, it's water. It's water. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so this says prisoners still unaware of Assad's ouster. Clarissa Ward from CNN and her team find a prisoner still in Assad's Air Force Intel HQ in Damascus in Syria, abandoned alone in a cell days after the prison was thought to have been emptied. Now, the problem is there's a lot of breakdown that people will, that I've read about here, where it was not only cleared out, it was very cleared out. So this is very much staged, and I don't have the full video here, but evidently the guy's like, I'll take you up to this place, and he's like, but I've got to shoot the lock. And then her camera, you can't watch though, you can't film this, so the camera goes black. He shoots, quote unquote, the lock. Then they open the door, and then the camera comes on again, and that's where this guy that looks to be in pretty good health, although he's might be kind of thirsty here, but you know, playing a little rough himself. And then she's this, like, as you saw back here, I'm gonna back here. Watch her.
I'm a civilian, he says. I'm a civilian.
It's okay.
Look at her over here. That's so fake. But then, you know, anyway, there's a bunch more you can probably get with this. It's just it's too unbelievable to be true. But what if you remember though, this is the same lady. Let's go back here. Same lady that I think it's this one. There you go. This is in Gaza where she's like, oh, there's an attack.
Barrage of.
Clarissa
but this is all fake
because
there's like people walking by.
Hi, John. So forgive me, I have a slightly unelegant position, but we have just had a massive barrage of rockets coming in here, not too far from us. So we have had to take shelter here by the roadside. We're just about 5 minutes away. Gaza is in that direction. We can hear now a lot of jets in the sky. We could also hear the Iron Dome intercepting a number of those rockets as they were whizzing overhead and making impact in that direction, not too far from here. We came to this location because this was ground zero for this entire operation of carnage. Hamas militants came on a pickup truck. This was the first place where they breached that border wall, and they basically drove down this strip, just spraying lead wherever they went. We saw, in fact, I was just grabbing it before that happened and we had to hit the deck, but heavy weaponry being used. It's saying we can get up now. Where are we moving to? Sorry, just 1 second, guys. Okay.
Let's come up and go this way, and then.
All right, so now I can show you the scene here. This is where those militants first came, opening up fire on all these vehicles. There's a baby carriage down there.
Okay, so the idea there, though, and I don't know if it's, there was another video that goes with it that shows how fake it was at the time. And so I don't, here's the question. Patrick Bet-David, this lady is simply put it into video physical form, the kind of journalistic integrity that Chris Cuomo has. Or Andrew Cuomo? No, Chris Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was the governor, right? So this lady is just putting into physical perspective, showing journalistic malpractice and the same kind of standards that Chris Cuomo had when he was talking and gaslighting everybody and trying to shame everybody. She's doing similar stuff, similar type of work. So Patrick, but Dave, this, as an example, I hope Dave and Robbie watch this and go, you know what? If Patrick Bet-David hired this chick, I would be fine with it, Tyler. Why would we have any problems hiring such horrible people? Because maybe Dave can debate her too, right? I don't know why that gets me so worked up, but I think it's just ridiculous. Commie News Network, exactly. Let's go back to the browser. All right, let's go back and see what you guys are saying here. Oh, only 1 in 5 people in chat hit the like button. Yeah, yeah, come on, people. Fake video. This video is fake as fuck. It's so obvious. Yeah, dude's cleaner than me first thing in the morning. Those Assad tortures are some softies. Chug, 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 chug. Give me something for the cringe and let me die. CNN is so brave. CNN, much to believe on that channel. They have got to be almost built right now. Spraying lead. Hit the deck. Is this a Steven Seagal of news? I don't hear anything but her. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe that's there was something at the time that there was proof of that video that as just how fake it was. So I think it was when they were first going down, there were other people walking along, just kind of like, what's going on? It reminds me of the guys where someone's in the water, right, like a flood because there's a big storm. And then people just walk by. This person's like in a puddle, making it worse, or they come by in a canoe. I don't know what the crazy shit. Let's see if we have. Was there any other ones I wanted to go over here? There's all these little bookmarks I had. Wonderful bookmarks. She was crazy. He's crazy. That one's crazy. This 22286. Do I want to go down that one? I don't know if I want to go down that one. The Mangione. Well, maybe we'll take a look and do that one at another point. Syria. Okay, I think we're gonna hit that. Should we do this last one? I have not watched this, but I find things like this fascinating. Okay, so where are we at here? Oh, I know. I need to go back into this one. Okay, this one. This is a video here. I don't even know what this is about, but I thought this was it should be fun.
In the Jewish Bible that once a woman gets married, her hair becomes holy and it's solely just for her husband. That being written, it's important and actually encouraged to find a wig that mimics your own hair and makes you feel beautiful. Then by fulfilling this commandment, God will bless you and your family with an abundant amount of blessings.
Wait, that's not a guy? I thought it was some sort of tranny video. But I always love it when people try to fool God because he's not smart enough to figure that stuff out. Okay. I thought I had maybe another issue. We mocked Dave Smith and Robbie. Kayla Rekieta. Her thing is going to get denied. We'll just talking about that. There is more interesting stuff with Aaron Imulte and Milton and all the investigation. I don't know what's going on with that, but I think everything is going to start coming to a head. So we should start getting some resolutions. Maybe some people, Ethan Ralph, he pled out on his thing. Good for him. But we're going to get people maybe some going to court, maybe some trials here. I don't know, but it should be good. So there we go. Let's do one last thing here. I do want to bring this up. Maybe I'll have to do it in this section here. Okay, tell you what, let's do this.
I think Tyler is amazing.
Thanks, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
You've got mail.
Okay, that's my thing. Okay, so we'll just talk about. Let's go to some browser readings. Not that one. How do I get this here? You're gonna have to just bear with me, folks. Here.
I tell you what, I'd like to call out.
Stop it. Let's go here. Those are my notes. You guys just have to. Community, YouTube. Let's try this. Okay, so wait, why is it not showing it? Why didn't it not show that? Hang on a second. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to, there it is. I don't know. Maybe we'll go there. Maybe we'll try it this way. Sorry. How come I can't show that? Okay, now it looks like it's showing it. Okay. No, it's not. Where are we? This is so stupid. I hate sometimes this. I love. Oh, there we go. I love. Okay. Anyway, let's just read some of these things. I'm confused. Barnes claims to be represented. This is viewer mailbag. Okay. Barnes claims to be Christensenberg High. Okay. I don't know what that's talking about. I'm confused. Barnes claims to be representing the Covington kids. He didn't mention Nick Sandman by name. Why is there a need to bring Nick Sandman into this discussion other than to try and discredit Barnes? Did more than one child suffer as a result of that incident? No, they did not. And this person, thank you for chiming in. Without looking it up, what are the names of the other kids? And honestly, Barnes doesn't care about the suffering of children. He calls the kids in Palestine, and I quote, king losers. Okay, we'll give that guy. This former prosecutor is using the fact that she cheated on husband to justify a lighter sentence. Go to prison for that. Okay, that's interesting. McKenna Kenbrig. Okay, I don't know what that means. Family time. Okay. Just subscribe to Robert Barnes. Thanks. We'll thumb down. It went down. Deceit is saying Robert Barnes. So I think we've been through some of these comments already. So let's skip away. I did want to see if I could go to Rumble. I think we had some comments on Rumble that I had not answered for quite some time. And let's load those up. Okay. This was one I did on a video of misunderstanding family law. Okay. This was with Andrew something or other and Dave Smith. Maybe I'll do it this way and see if we can get, there we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this one we can actually read here. DASVA 2. While in general, it might not be bad. Okay, so this was the one. Let's see here. This one, I broke these two guys down. Oh, they're going to play ads.
Did Elon Musk just plan a...
Sorry. While in general, it might not be as bad, doesn't mean crazy stuff doesn't happen too, and best interest of the child can be laughable at times. Like when my coworker had his Class B driver's license revoked, which is what he was using to make a living because they determined he missed a support payment, except he hadn't. They had taken that months and he had and added it to the another month and just counted as him paying double for who knows why. Even the boss calling to confirm, yep, the payment was taken right out of the paycheck he signed, didn't change a thing. And they were claiming it was the best interest of the child. No, they weren't. That's I'm gonna back you. I'm gonna tell you that's wrong, and we'll get to it in a second here. It doesn't change a thing. While they were claiming the best interest of the child, or how the courts kept trying to give custody to my mom, and she showed up to court high and yelled at the judge, even when they wouldn't give my dad custody until the grandparents said no. Okay, we'll thumb that one up. But here's the deal. So, talking about family law, the best interest of the child standard is only about custody. And to mix those two is against, at least in California, there's statutes that say that you cannot do that. In other words, you can't take into account the financial situation of one parent or the other when determining custody. Okay, it just doesn't happen. So this is a typical thing of taking someone's driver's license if you are involved in child support, Department of Child Support Services is involved in the case. Okay, now they don't have to be involved in the case. If you have a child support issue, you can file or sign up and have DCSS, at least in California, be part of the case. Now this is all written under the Title 4D of the Social Security Act. Okay. And states get funding about 60 cents out of the dollar or more for enactment of child support. So it's all kinds of stuff. And it's a nefarious program. It's very bad. And it enables states to not put into account or the situation where the default is 50-50 custody. Okay, and look at that. Most of the Republican states have fought against that, and I've talked about that over and over. So that's one aspect. And DCSS has the ability to take your license if you are not current on your payments. I guarantee you, whoever your buddy was here was not one payment wrong. Okay, and the reason being is that's a very late stage that they're even going to do that kind of aspect. Take your license, okay? What the situation is, if you're behind, now you have arrears. People can get in arrears thousands and thousands of dollars. Then there's a payment plan usually that, you know, I have to keep going to court saying, hey, you've got 10 grand in arrears. Okay. We're charging you 10% per annum. You are in arrears and you need to start making payments toward this. Here's your normal support. Let's just make up numbers. Let's say you pay $500 a month, but you have this 10 grand that you're going to do. We're going to tack on another $100 a month of arrears that's going to go towards arrears. Okay. And boom, that's what they do. Now, if you're compliant with this arrears order, okay, and you're making the payments, they can levy your bank account. But if you're compliant, I think it's only up to like 3 grand or 4 grand in California. Now, if you're not compliant, they just go in there and take as much as possible that's in the account. Okay. What I mean by compliant is not that you don't have arrears, but the compliance portion goes towards the payment on arrears. So if you're making those monthly payment on arrears, you are in compliance, but you're still going to get your bank account possibly levied. It takes a lot more. Sometimes they'll say, hey, you're in contempt. You haven't been doing this. We'll put you in contempt. And the typical thing that they try to do is to have you, they maybe put you on probation. It'll be a full year. I just had a case like this. And then the guy within that year was still not making his full payments. So they said, we're going to extend it for another year. And they don't do jack shit about that, right? But if this goes on and on and on, at some point they will then, to try to get you in compliance, they'll take your driver's license away. It's typically going to be pretty detrimental steps to get there. And by the way, most of these people need their driver's license to go to work, to make money, to pay, right? So one, I believe someone's telling you a load of goods, and this is what happens with men and in the court cases. This is my problem with the men's rights issues with family law, which is a lot of times people, this is happening, right? Now his driver's license gets pulled away and maybe you're working with him. He's like, I can't do this. And he says, I missed a payment. Now, maybe there was a missed payment, right? Maybe that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. And he's been in arrears this whole time, and now he's not even in compliance, and he had a probation issue where he couldn't be missing payments or they were going to take his driver's license, and that's what happened. But it stems from a long, long line of problems that you actually have to get there. Now, the best interest of the child standard has nothing to do with child support. Nothing to do with child support at all. So there you go. Anyway, that's that one. Let's see what else we got here. Hope that answers that question. Freedom Chaser commented on the video. Let's see what that one says. What's the deal here? How come I don't see, I don't know what's going on. This is a fuck me here. I don't know what the community tab lets comments like that. That's pretty neat and useful. Also at the, this is long. Don't do that. I don't know what it's talking about. Comments of the week. Okay, so we got that one there. Let's see what else we got. Freedom Chaser. There's no benefit to men to marry an American woman. Okay. Comments of the week. We got. What about this one here? I just started following me. Okay. Thanks, guys. We'll get rid of that one. All right, now it's playing my own show, and I'm a mess here. I'm a mess. Maybe we'll get back to. Let's go back to the last. Do you have a Rumble channel? Yeah. So look, people. This is. Let's go here with. Once again, this is all kinds of problems here. Okay, I'm gonna go get back to the browser. Let's hang on here. I'm sorry. Maybe next time I will have. A much better situation going. Oh, we do have Rumble chat. Let's take a look at this. This says, oh my God. This is horrible, people. This is not at all as professional as I would like to be, but sometimes it happens. Okay, this says based. Next for CNN lady, she will take us to the gas chambers. Okay, there you go. Okay, so while I'm going to pull this back up and see if I could figure this out. Let's see if I can find the other chat, and it'll be there next week, people. I'll have this all figured out. Much better. YouTube chats pop out. There we go. Okay. Do I have a Rumble channel? Yeah, just go to Rumble and type in LPR, and you should be able to find it quite easily. So, yeah, that's what we have. You have a Rumble channel? What the fuck was that? What the heck is going on right now? I don't know. I'm kind of all over the board. Okay, people. I guess we'll see you next week. So I may break out a show this weekend. I always say that, and sometimes I do get them going on because I start to think of something more, and then I plan it a little bit better, and then here we are. So if you have anything else you want to talk about other than that, let me know, and we'll be glad to do it. Mostly, I like to do the legal stuff. And I am going down this DB Cooper rabbit hole quite deep. So I think I'm going to be giving some explanations on that, little breakdowns. So if anybody's interested in their other favorite shows that want to do a little breakdown on DB Cooper, I might be your gentleman. I hope so. Other than that, no, I got copyright struck for that one as well. So there's a lot of copyright problems we got going on here. Don't forget to like the show, subscribe to the show. We've got Rumble, we've got X. I'm there on Tyler Yonke on X, YouTube channel. I got a Substack. I think it's in the notes of the show. We're also on Spotify, all the podcast catchers. So catch us there. When you go out and do stuff and you're working on the weekends, bring in a show. Hopefully we'll entertain you. We'll give you some legal concepts, some good things to have happen. There's got to be some legal stuff coming up here. Maybe we will talk about that. I don't know. I just don't always have time to do this. All right. So JC's showing up. Now you show up. Well, it was a mess, JC. It was a fucking mess today, and I hope you enjoy it. There you go. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. Why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is...
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.